West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Well, good morning, Denver, Colorado. It is 6 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, September 4th, 2025. Glad to have you with us. We've got a great show for you this morning. Coming up in a little bit, we're going to be joined by Christy Burton Brown of Advanced Colorado as the progressives are seeking to weaken Tabor by getting rid of the flat tax and implementing a progressive tax. Bottom line, you make more money in Colorado, you're going to pay a higher percentage of your taxes, even if you're a business. We'll talk with KBB in a little bit. We're also going to be joined by Ray Elliott and Michael McCoy, Colorado State Shooting Association and the Mountain States Legal Foundation, as they sue the state of Colorado on those semi-automatic gun requirements that were passed during the last legislative session that require you to basically sell a kidney at this point in order to be able to buy a gun with a detachable magazine. They're going to be joining us in the 8 o'clock hour. And then Amber Heyman, owner of Kate's Wine Bar in Littleton, on the upcoming Littleton Restaurant Week, and Dr. Gene Twenge about the upcoming Centennial Institute Impact Summit. Goodness, Bill, it's like a giant party with people coming by all morning.
It's a busy day. It's a really busy day today. So,
and, of course, always your phone calls and texts. You can give us a call by joining the conversation at 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. We're also going to talk the Colorado School of Mines. Became rather famous over their silly football pictures, deciding not to do them again this year.
I know. Yeah. So you found something online. We're going to talk to a guy that made a video about it. And this is disappointing. Yeah. This is disappointing.
So we'll have some fun in the 6 o'clock hour. So jam-packed show for you today. Now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Hey, good morning. Thrilling Thursday. 59 and clear in Denver, expecting a high of 87 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, a loose tire is being blamed for a deadly crash in the southbound lanes of I-25 near Ridgegate and Lone Tree that happened on Tuesday. A tire broke loose from the northbound vehicle, bounced into the southbound lanes, and caused the deadly crash. The northbound driver pulled over to the shoulder and spoke to police following the crash, which is still under investigation. Be careful out there. The Garfield County Sheriff's Office is asking for help finding a missing girl. They say 15-year-old Grace Campisi was last seen in the bus area of Denver's Union Station early Wednesday. Campisi was reported missing from the Carbondale area of the county. She's described as 5'2", about 100 pounds, with blue eyes, brown hair, and blonde highlights. She also has a nose piercing and a scar on one shoulder. Florida Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo with a huge announcement on Wednesday. Their state is working on the possibility of ending children's vaccine mandates.
Every last one of them. Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Okay? who am I as a government or anyone else, or who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body? Who am I to tell you what your child should put in your body?
So, of course, this is going to be extremely controversial over the next few weeks or few months. Vladimir Putin has reportedly invited Ukrainian President Zelensky to talk with him in Moscow. The two nations have been at war, of course, for over 3 years, and DJT has been trying to negotiate an end to the fighting, of course. ICE has busted. Did you need something, Jeff?
Yeah, I was good. Sorry, you can always hear my mic click on, can't you?
Oh, no, I love it. No, I can read your mind.
There you go. So speaking of vaccinations, you saw that Polis is going to put in an order that's going to allow you to get the COVID vaccination without a prescription. So I just wrote, people still get the annual COVID vaccination? And I did a poll. So if you go to x.com/Jeff
I didn't
Hunt,
see that one.
you can see there. And I just asked, do you still get the annual COVID vaccination? We're at about 500 votes. 500 votes, okay? 1.4% say they do. 39.7% say they no longer do. And 60% said they never did.
Wow. Now, those are your followers, so we can we can understand that. And there's probably, if there was the Jeff Hunt version on the left, it would probably be flip-flopped, right?
It might be. It might be. But I just find that intriguing. I mean,
absolutely.
And I've never been opposed of those that are older, pre-existing condition, because I've gotten COVID before. It's a nasty thing. It's very nasty. One of the worst things I've ever gotten. But yeah, little kids, young people, all that stuff. I remember when my kids got it, and it was just like a runny nose.
Do you see California is dealing with a micro outbreak of COVID? They've had a 58% increase in cases over the last couple of weeks. They're dealing with about 400 or so cases, and a couple of dozen are hospitalized. Several of those very seriously.
Yeah.
It is of the entire population of California, we are talking about a couple of hundred that are sick. So are we talking about anything close to 2019? No. But there is a variant that has popped up that is a little bit outside of the norm inside of California, which is worrisome. I'm not headed toward the pandemic, but we talked about this years ago, that the COVID virus, because of its nature, will want to find a level that's closer to the flu or the cold, because it's not trying to kill its host. That's unlike some of the other viruses. It doesn't function that way. It needs you to walk around and cough on people in order to spread. So putting you in the hospital doesn't help. But it seems a weird variant. Again, it's a couple dozen cases in the hospital, not a serious thing. But it's weird that spike happened in the last couple of days. Something that I ran across. It was strange.
I think everybody went back to school.
Yeah, exactly. I think I had it 2 weeks ago. I really do. I think I had it. I think all of us in our family had it. But here's the way we deal with it. Okay, whatever. You know, it's a bad cold. And I had a couple of friends say, "Did you think you have COVID?" I'm like, I don't know. I just whatever. I mean, you know, I let it.
I'm
pass.
just amazed. 1.4% are getting it. 1%.
Yeah, right. No, that's interesting. Yeah, check that out. Thank you for that, Jeff. I got to check that out. ICE has busted a massive illegal alien pedophile network in California. 10 criminals arrested Wednesday. Epstein survivors say they may compile their own list of clients, and they're urging the DOJ to release the names of those involved. Survivor Lisa Phillips said victims know who the regulars were in Epstein's world, as dozens gathered in D.C. to push Congress for action while the first set of related documents is made public. Now, 47 called it a hoax on Wednesday, and he's got to get away from this. He needs to be more clear. He's talking about the fake narrative that the left recently injected into the Epstein files, and he continues to call it a hoax. So he needs to stop doing that. The victims didn't like it, and the attorney is confused by the wording because DJT has helped them as much as anyone.
But I don't understand why it's a hostile act. I can tell you that I talked to President Trump back in 2009, and several times after that, he didn't think that it was a hoax then. In fact, He helped me. He got on the phone. He told me things that were helping our investigation. Now, our investigation wasn't looking into him, but he was helping us then. He didn't treat this as a hoax. So at this point in time, I would hope that he would revert back to what he was saying to get elected, which is, I want transparency. This about face that occurred, none of us understand it. In fact, I don't understand how this is an issue that's even up for debate. How do you not stand behind these women after you've heard their stories and know that hundreds of them were abused, and it was only because files are being kept in secrecy?
So he just needs to handle it better from here on out, because it's not going to go away. House Republicans have formed a new subcommittee to probe January 6th. John Strand on X says, as someone who lived through the DOJ's fraudulent prosecutions and was imprisoned under a weaponized government, I will say it plainly. They destroyed lives. They need to be held accountable. Amen. DJT says Chicago residents back his push to use the National Guard to fight crime, while state and city leaders strongly oppose the move because they're commies on the left and they hate DJT and everything on the right and fighting crime. 47 criticized Illinois and California leadership, defended deploying troops to L.A., and suggested New Orleans could be next. That would be a very good idea, by the way. He offered no timetable for sending Guard troops
Denver,
to Chicago. Denver. 5280, 50 Mile High City. Okay. Yeah, come on, bring it here. You know, I saw some graffiti on north of Denver on one, I think it's in Thornton or North Glen yesterday. Said, we want justice, and sprayed all over the wall. And I'm thinking, yeah, how about justice to find you who just sprayed on the wall graffiti and throw you in jail? Clean it up. Let's go. Denver. Denver is ready to celebrate the full reopening of the 16th Street corridor. The construction in the corridor will be finished early next month. The $172 million project began over 3 years ago and was originally scheduled for completion by the end of last year, of course. A reopening ceremony for the completed project will be held on October 4th. And planners in Palmer Lake struck down an annexation proposal made by Buc-ee's by a vote of 3-2. The three commissioners gave a myriad of reasons for voting against it, notably the water Buc-ee's would require for operations.
This is a clear indication or a clear sign to the folks who are under recall that the townspeople haven't felt like they've been heard.
The NFL kicks off tonight. The Cowboys at the reigning champions' house, the Philadelphia Eagles. Broncos kick off Sunday, 2:05 at Mile High against the Titans. 57 in Broomfield, 58 in Lone Tree, 59 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue with plenty of joy.
He's got these magical doctors who claim that he was shot in the ear, but his ear, I guess, grew back. He had a Duplo bandage on 1 minute, no bandage the next. We can't get a medical record from this alleged assassination. He was supposedly shot.
Joyless still opening her pie hole. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Some warm September temperatures today, but a cool down coming tomorrow. Will be mid to upper 80s and sunny this evening and overnight. As a front comes in, could see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, lower 50s, gusty northeast winds. Brisk north winds and cooler. Only low 70s Friday with a few showers. Upper 40s Friday night, upper 70s Saturday. Weather is a service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Well, it's college football time, and we are kicking it off here in Denver, Colorado, and what was becoming an annual tradition was the kind of silly pictures coming from the Colorado School of Mines. Found this hilarious video from a guy named Evan Hand. Listen to this.
The best tradition in all of college sports just died, and everyone should be pissed about this, because I am. So this is the Colorado School of Mines, right? They have a football team. And for the past 4 or 5 years, these guys have been going viral every single year because of their headshots. I did a full video on this last year. You can click right here to watch it. But the players would go take their roster picks every single year, and they would dress up and be really silly. And it's very ironic because these guys are some of the smartest students in the country. All of them are engineers. So seeing them take roster picks like this was hilarious. Now, the college football season started literally today, so I've been checking on their website every single day to see if they've updated it. I even tweeted at the football team saying, drop the roster picks, and they blocked me. So I go to look about 20 minutes ago to do my daily checkup, and they massacred my boys. This was this guy's pick last year. Take a look at him now. Who is that? That's not fun. It's so serious. Again, last year, this year. Last year, this year. Last year, one of the best ones from last year, this year. What are we doing? Now, I'm assuming this is because they got a new coach last year, and he's all business, and he's the one who put the Colorado School of Mines on the map back in the early 2000s. Lighten up, bro. You just ruined one of the best traditions in all of college sports. God forbid you let boys be boys. And now nobody's going to care about the Mines anymore. I got to start a petition to get the roster picks back.
I love the end of that. I got to start a petition to get the roster picks. So these football players from the Colorado School of Mines would have, silly pictures. And what made it funny was that they were really serious, but then, serious, smart students, but they would shave half their mustache or dye their hair blue or just do a silly picture. Anyways, I thought this was hilarious. And I actually outreached to the guy who made the video, Evan Hand, and he's able to join us this morning. Evan, thank you for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, so you picked up on something that was becoming a great tradition, which was these silly pictures. And then you notice this year they're not doing it, and they even blocked you. What? Help me understand that.
Yes. So last year, this is when it all became super popular last year, these roster pictures. So I made a video about it, and that video got actually 10 million views across all platforms. So I figured I'm going to run it back again, this year. So every single day from late July to early August, I was checking the roster to see if it was actually up. And they finally did it that day. And I was about to go somewhere. I made that video in 5 minutes, and I was actually upset by it, truly upset by it. But on, I believe it was August 8th, I replied to one of their tweets on Twitter. And ever since then, or X rather, and ever since then, I could not reply to any other tweets or posts on their profile. Now, they say that they do it all the time and that they retroactively only allow it on some posts or whatever. Doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but regardless, I can't interact with any of their stuff anymore. So.
That's wild. Now, Blake Olson, who does our news, was a sportscaster for years and actually interviewed the coach at one point. And we outreached to the coach, right, Blake, to see if he'd be able to join us this morning. And he wasn't able to join us at this exact hour. But what do you think happened? This was becoming a national trend that people loved. As Evan pointed out, 10 million views. Any school, especially Colorado, would love that type of notoriety. What do you think happened here?
Well, I think it's just the new coach. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I thought he. I'm sorry, Evan. I thought you were asking me.
Blake,
I apologize.
I'll go to Blake first. Blake, and then we'll go to Evan. What do you think?
And I'll say it really quickly so Evan can talk. But they play West Texas tonight. It's a game night, game day. And we asked him to come on, Coach Stitt. He's a great coach. And as Evan says in the video, and he was correct, I'm sure. I mean, Stitt, his philosophy with this culture, he probably wants to keep it very business-like, buttoned up, and not mess around. But I would agree with Evan on this. And he was correct in the video. If there's one team in the nation that should be able to do this, it's the School of Mines. These guys are great student athletes. They're not the NIL guys. And they're football players who love the sport and great students and generally just good dudes, good guys all around. And I don't feel like it hurts them. They went to the national championship game 2 years ago. But Stitt is a very successful coach. He's a good man. But he didn't want to come on this morning. It's game day. They play West Texas tonight on the road, and I'll shut up so Evan can talk. Thank you, Evan.
Yeah, I think it's definitely just a coach thing, and not that there's anything wrong with the coach. Clearly, he's a business type of guy. It's kind of like a Saban divorce situation going on here. But the problem with the new coach coming in, Bob Stitt, is that this was inevitable if this was his plan all along. Like, there would be national outrage if he were to decide, which he did, to get rid of these roster picks. Now, there is another college, Winona State, I believe they're in Montana or something, who did something similar to this, but it's not the Mines.
And I think that's a really important point. By the way, we're talking with Evan Hand. He's a great entrepreneur, has a hilarious, very entertaining Instagram account. If you go to EV_hand, HANDD, you can watch his videos there. But the point being, like, Colorado School of Mines, everybody knows this here in the state, is like the smart kids. Like they're the top producers of engineers. These are the kids that get the best scores on the SATs. Right.
That's what they are.
I mean, they're very, and so these really funny football pictures went global. And the reason why I think this is important, Evan Hand, and I want your perspective on this, is you've generated 1 billion views on social media. You know the power financially of viral content. The Colorado School of Mines had a golden goose egg with this, right? I mean, this was eyeballs. This was attention. This was players that I've never even heard of, and because I'm not a big sports guy, I'm a political guy. Yeah. But this elevated this team to global viewership, and they walked away from it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you were to go up to anybody on the street and tell them that you can get them publicity of around 10 million views, or like a guaranteed at least 1 million views every single year for a tradition that you already do anyway, they would absolutely take that. So that's kind of what's more shocking to me, is that the Colorado School of Mines didn't really want this publicity, or rather the football team didn't want the publicity, because think about, I'm from New York per se. Think about one college or a high school football player who wants to be an engineer, and he just, that could put the school on the map. He could go spend his money there, the tuition there, like move to Denver. Like, there's so many implications to having a viral video. And I know it sounds kind of stupid just off the cuff, but 10 million views is 10 million views. That's a lot of people looking at your program or your school or your city. Like, anybody would take that.
Yeah, the other thing that in this that kind of struck me is these kids, it's the end of the road for their football aspirations. None of these kids are getting drafted to the NFL. They are playing because they love the sport and they're math nerds. And I forget the author, but there's an author that said, what's the point in growing up if you're not allowed to be childish every once in a while? And that's kind of the message that I would give to Coach Stitt here. What's the point of having all this discipline if you don't allow a little childness and a little frivolity every once in a while? And I was a college athlete. And for me, the cool thing about those pictures is it's a keepsake that you can actually be somewhat proud of and make fun of over the course of the rest of your life. When you're sitting down with the kids and the grandkids and you show them, yeah, Grandpa was actually a football player. No, you weren't, Grandpa. Yeah, let me show you the picture. That's silly. Look, it's all fun. Oh, what can I tell you the story about what we done on picture day? This is hilarious. And now you've got a story and a connection with kids and a connection with the family. The regular picture's boring. I've stood there for those pictures over and over and over again. They're boring. And nobody goes back and tries to share those type of experiences with their family. Every one of those players had a memory to take with them for the rest of their lives and a story to tell. It made the program unique in a sea of sameness. Everybody's trying to be the same thing. Everybody wants to replicate what they're doing in the SEC. Everybody wants to do that because they're the top dogs or the Big 12. That's it. But Colorado School of Mines carved out a unique island of their own that gave them recognition and allowed these kids to be silly a little bit, because that math class, I've had friends that have gone through mines, that is a butt kicker. That is an incredibly difficult school. And you make it out of there, you've achieved something. But allow these kids to show a little bit of personality. I love that.
But guys, I got to go back to this.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's about the money, money, money. Everybody knows this in sports right now. Yeah. I worked for a university for 8 years. I know about the financial strain. And we look at what Prime's done to the University of Colorado. That was the worst football program in the entire region.
Yeah,
okay? Now, sold out stadiums. Look at the endorsement opportunities coming for those kids. Look at the money coming into the University of Colorado and the NIL and all that stuff that's happening right now. The Colorado School of Mines had a golden egg. They had stumbled upon it. It wasn't really something that they planned to, but it just went naturally viral, okay? They had a golden egg, and they walked away from it. I want to go to Blake here. Blake, you know the importance of revenue for these schools and these teams. Why walk away from that type of attention?
Now, I understand, there's a credibility thing with the School of Mines. That could be part of it. I don't know, the administration, the board, but ultimately it comes down to the head coach. But I would agree with you. And where Evan sits, if he's in New York, I will tell you the biggest problem with the Colorado School of Mines is everyone east of the Missouri or the Mississippi, they honestly think that it's the Colorado School of Mimes. Not mines. And so, I mean, if I were them, I would try to capitalize off that and off these photos, as Evan has rightly pointed out. And once again, it's just one of those very unique programs that the guys should, be able to do this. Now, CU, I don't think they should do that. If they were to do this, no, absolutely not, because this is what they look like every day when they walk into their locker room. But for the School of Mines, it's perfect. And you're right. It's a golden goose egg they didn't take advantage of.
We're talking to Evan Hand. Evan's got a great Instagram account. Go to EV_Hand, HANDD. Give him a follow. He does a lot of really good content there. Evan, you're on Denver's Top Talk radio show. There's a strong likelihood that the coach is going to listen to this interview, that alumni for the Colorado School of Mines are listening this morning. What becomes your message? Can they turn this around? Is there still time?
I think they can absolutely turn it around. The video I made wasn't really to start a nationwide witch hunt against, the Colorado School of Mines or the coach. May have turned out to be that way in the comments, but whatever. But I believe if you change it back next year, we will welcome you with open arms. That golden goose egg is still there. We understand it. And honestly, people would get a lot of respect for you changing that around. Now, I don't expect anything. I understand what you're doing here. I understand, it's, again, like I said, a DeBoer Saban situation, but, the people love it, and I think it would be a great publicity, not stunt, but great publicity for the Colorado School of Mines and the football team.
And turn it around. And I loved how you had to finish that video. Oh, I got to go start a petition. Evan, you're doing great work. It's a lot of fun to watch your content. It means a lot to us that you took time to join us this morning. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good day.
All right. We'll continue in a second. Let's talk Dan Kaplis with Dan Kaplis Law. Dan suggests you should choose a lawyer who shares your values, because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everybody involved in the case. Dan Kaplis is the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who are hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. Dan Kaplis Law is the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551. 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S Law.com. We'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. As you know, we try to make the state a better place. And
Yes,
this
we
is
do.
one that we might, just a little bit of pressure, just a little bit of elevation might turn things around for friends over at the Colorado School.
I mean, and again, if you want to make it, again, lean into the silly, I bet if you started getting enough eyeballs on this, start sponsoring the team pictures, the logo at the bottom. Go ahead and sell it. I mean, come on. Slim Jim is a major sponsor of pro wrestling. I'm pretty sure might be able to convince Slim Jim to sponsor your team pictures. And I'm just saying,
Get the money in the door.
Yes, I'm just saying. Oh, man.
So if you missed our interview, we were talking with this great guy who's created this viral content, but it was basically calling on the Colorado School of Mines football coach to return to a tradition. And what was that tradition? Well, a series of very unique roster photos.
Yes, silly pictures.
The ore diggers, in their annual picture day, would take non-traditional pictures with funky hairdos, interesting facial hair, and more that sometimes included blue dye, bleach. I mean, just really funny, silly pictures. And it was the combination of all the elements that made it work, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're a crummy D3, nobody cares about you school of kids that aren't that serious anyways, well, then it just kind of moves on. Like, what? It's not, but it's the Colorado School of Mines.
Yeah.
That is the hardest school, I think, in Colorado to get into. That and maybe Colorado College. But those are, you got to be at the very top of the SAT bracket to get in. So you got these very smart kids that are all going to go on to make fortunes because they all go into oil and gas and energy development and engineering and mathematics, and they're just highly talented, intellectual kids coming out with really funny, silly pictures.
Yeah.
So it just breaks the mold, and it became a global trend. So everybody was looking forward to it. In that case, this guy with 1 billion views on Instagram and social media accounts sitting there refreshing the page of the football team at the Colorado School of Mines, just getting ready, just waiting. And it never came.
No. And he does show in the video some of the new pictures that have been released, and they're boring. You can hear in the video where he's like,
it's right
this
out
is
of
the guy's
St. John's from the East Coast now.
It is. Yeah, they look like everybody else's pictures. And to me, you've then taken away the uniqueness of it and the reason to get eyeballs. And again, I think what makes it most important that you're outlining, Jeff, is that these are a bunch of smart kids that are allowed to act a little silly. Plus, it does put the school on the map for something, as Evan outlined. Could be a really smart math kid who likes football in New York, but never could have come across Colorado School of Mines. He might have, but chances are maybe not. Then he sees the pictures. He sees something like that. It's like, now it becomes attractive to him. Now it's a place that, I'm going to go and I'm going to buckle down and I'm going to have to do all this math. And I know the classes are going to be hard, but they can also have a little bit of fun. I know that there is some sense of uniqueness inside of this school community. To me, it makes it much more attractive because none of these kids are going on and playing football after this. They're not even going to make it into the Canadian Football League, and that's okay. So this is kind of their one last hurrah. They're doing this because they love the sport, not because they're going to try out at the Combine. They're not going to go to the Underwear Olympics, as some people call them, which I think is a fantastic name. They're never going to get that chance. So this was a moment to have them express, and this is the other part for me, is their creativity. Yeah. It allowed you to have a window into the person. I felt like I knew so much more about the player looking at the picture they took that was silly than I do for them just sitting there in the regular traditional pick. You got a little bit of a flair of who these kids are and what they like. It was something that made it different and unique, and that hurts me when we have to all go samey. I don't like that. As if you haven't been able to tell by listening to the show. I don't like that a lot.
Now, Bill, I'm going to take the other side of this argument.
Ooh, just good. Yes.
That's what we do on this program.
Please do. Yeah.
Okay. The new coach means business. He's shaking things up.
Yeah.
No more dancing around. We're going to win titles. We're here to work. We're not here to mess around.
Yeah, and all of that is okay. However, what I want to know is from the coach, Tell me how what I'm wearing in a picture is going to impact my preparation for the game or performance on the field. This is a singular moment in time that we do not return to after the first snap of the season is played. This is all prior to the season starting. So I want to hear the coach make the argument to me about how being silly in this moment in time prior to the season impacts my ability, readiness, or performance once the whistle blows. That's what I want to hear.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the problem I have with it, is that it's not during the season.
For me, it's the financial side of it, guys.
Yeah, I get that too.
Come on, man. This was a golden egg.
Yes, it was.
And this was part of the reason why Prime has been so successful,
yes.
right? It's more than just what happens on the field in between the hash lines. I get that's it when it comes to, the game. It's a game of inches. You got to battle it out down there. You got to be focused. Okay, all right. But there's a whole nother reality to this.
Yes.
It is Prime selling sunglasses, right? It's NIL. It's endorsements.
How many
it's
different uniforms do they have?
Yes.
Like 37 now?
Right.
It's like every other week we've got a new variant of the uniform that someone has to go out and buy. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant.
Right. It's money, and I feel like the Colorado School of Mines has walked away from money on the table.
Yeah.
Just eyeballs and attention, and you could have built sponsorships around this, and it doesn't have to get out of control, right? It doesn't. What was also unique about these was that the pictures were just a little bit silly, right?
Yes.
It was not, it was like a guy with the Captain Hook mustache.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It was a little bit of a blue eyebrow. It wasn't over the top, extreme, wildly crazy hairdos. It was guys just pushing it a little bit to make it pretty funny. And you had, guys, I'm going to go back to this. Coach, I'm going to go back to this. You had social media influencers with billions of views refreshing your football team's website. Just waiting for that. It's like you've reached the point as a musician where people are waiting for those tickets to drop, waiting for that album to drop. They're at that edge. They are so invested in what you have created that people with limited amounts of time and lots of demand were sitting there waiting for you to drop something.
Jeff, something as you're talking there clicked in my mind that I wanted to add to exactly what you're talking about as far as this being a monetary opportunity is there's something else inside of this. Let's imagine that Jeff, Bill, and our audience are in a marketing meeting right now at the Colorado School of Mines, and we're talking about getting more attention to the school. We're talking about having people go out there, and we're going to contact some social media influencers to do some things about the team and to talk about the team and talk about the school and talk about things. And what do we have to do? And we're talking about the investment and what we have to provide to these influencers, etc. But as Evan joined us earlier in the show, outlined he was waiting, had the idea of the video ready to go, and he has gotten so many views on the one that he did last year, and he was going to do it for free. Now, free is my second favorite F word. So anytime you do anything for free, I love that idea. And so they had the ability to get marketing reach for free by doing this. That's crazy. Ask any business. Ask any business if we can find something that, again, is not harming the reputation of the school, but gets eyeballs on it and goes viral for free. Why would you stop that? Again, free. That's a key word here. I was doing bar trivia last night. The big sell there is free beer. Yeah. What I'm saying the rest of the time, not a big deal. Exactly. The issue is free beer. That's the entire sell.
All
yes.
Right, Coach, love to have you on the show. We know it's game day.
Yeah.
You're welcome to call in. Welcome to join us in future days. As always on the Jeff and Bill Show, this is a conversation.
Yeah.
People are allowed to call in with any perspective that they have. Maybe you believe it's time to tighten things up at the Colorado School of Mines. We need to push this to another level. This silliness gets in the way of success. Maybe that's the argument. Give me a call. 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. Or maybe the coach, the team, school president, just maybe reevaluate this. Go back in. Take the pictures. It's early in the season. It's the first week. You can turn things around. We would love to see that change because, Colorado's got a lot of problems, a lot of division, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. This was a little moment of levity, brought the people of Colorado together. We'd like to see it continue. To the good people at the Colorado School of Mines, we hope you'll reconsider. All right, speaking of silliness, You Choose the News coming up. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're all about a little bit of silliness and levity in our lives because what's that Jimmy Buffett line? If we can't laugh, we'll all go insane. And in light of everything we have to deal with in this state, yes, if you can't laugh about what's going on, we would go insane. And so it's that time of the morning we bring you Bill Thorpe's You Choose the News.
Yes, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls of all ages, it is time for America's favorite fake radio news game show. We call it You Choose the News, simply because the name wasn't taken yet. Alrighty, now this is how it works. I scour interwebs for mere moments this morning to find really dumb stories about us humans to play this fake radio news game show. Now, why would we possibly do this? Because those that are in charge do not wake up until 7 o'clock in the morning. So when we are left unsupervised, Jeff and I, are going to take full advantage of this. You can just ask our parents about all the stories from when we were kids. There's a lot of them. Hope you had a lot of time. As always, we bring in a fall guy. Another participant, and that is Blake Olson, who joins us from the news department. So, gentlemen, here are your headline choices this morning. Headline number 1, can you hear me now? Headline number 2, keep stepping. Headline number 3, did you bring yours? And headline number 4, grab a breath. Mr. Hunt, your choice.
Did you bring yours?
Yeah, did you bring yours? That's the question the owner of XLR nightclub in Manchester is now asking patrons. Did you bring yours? See, the nightclub owner is saying the financial times right now are incredibly difficult. The number of people going through the doors of the club is dropping precipitously, so he has another idea. How about you guys bring your own alcohol? Maybe it's just gotten too expensive to go out to the club. Yes, he has a BYOB rule starting September 19th at the club. Now, no glass bottles, no backpacks, no reentry. That's it. Question I've got is I've worked in clubs, worked in restaurants, worked in bars. Normally, it's the alcohol that pays the bills.
I was going to say.
Not the dorm cover charge.
Yeah, right.
I just am wondering, what's the cover charge at this place?
And then can you give it to other people? Can you charge them? All that stuff. Hey, $1, I'll give you a shot of vodka as opposed to what you got to pay at the bar.
Entry fee, the cover charge is going to a little more than double. Go from about $6 to $15. So a little bit more than double, but does that cover the alcohol costs? Because you get in there based on what they're charging you per bottle, because, again, the bar manager for a bit, that's what pays the bills. They're charging you a fraction of, they pour a fraction of the alcohol and charge you half what the bottle costs. That's how you make the cash.
So I've never been big into the bar world, club scene, all that stuff. My wife and I were watching Ocean's 8 the other day where they're pulling out vodka and then adding water to it in order to water down the drinks. Does that happen pretty frequently?
Not if you're in a reputable place. What happens, though, is instead of pouring it, what you do is there are soft pours. So there are times in which if someone is drinking in excess, or if, let's say, they just decide not to tip you, well, I know that, I know the count is like about a two-thirds, 2 seconds, three quarters for a shot. Yeah, maybe it's rather than a 1, 2, 3. Maybe I'm giving you a 1 and then I tilt it so it stops pouring, and then what I'm doing is I'm not giving you the full shot. Then I'll fill everything with soda water. But
they're not back. They're not back there empty.
At least not the ones that I worked in. No, not the ones that I worked in. But we did have those rules where also you had this thing where those you get the bridesmaids in there and they're having the bridal shower thingy. And like, woo! Oh, it's guys with some shots. Yeah, they got Sprite.
And you helped them get home. Well
Yes,
done,
exactly.
Bill Thorpe.
They got Sprite. Yes, they didn't notice. Alrighty, Blake Olson, your choice, sir. Can you hear me now? Keep stepping or grab a breath?
Keep stepping.
Yeah, keep stepping. That was the message to people recently during a screening of the dystopian drama by Stephen King, The Long Walk. Yes, they had a very special screening where they invited 50 influencers that had to keep moving during the entire show. Now, if you're not familiar with it, this is actually a Richard Bachman short story that Stephen King did under a pen name before he revealed that it was actually him. The Long Walk, think Hunger Games without all the weapons and stabby. Basically, the idea is it's a dystopian Earth, and there's a major that has taken over a nation, and once a year they take 50 volunteers. And they walk them for miles. And the last person left standing gets whatever they want. They can have their wildest wishes come true. Everybody else that competes in this did. They're shot and killed, or they're killed by other people inside of this long walk, and it goes on until, and it's teenagers. And so it is an incredible story. It is heart-wrenching. But recently, during this screening, what the film company did is they set up treadmills in the theater. They emptied out the theater. They set up treadmills, invite 50 people, and you had to keep up a treadmill speed of 4 miles an hour, which is the rule in the long walk. If you drop below 4 miles an hour, you had to leave the theater. You don't see how the show ends. Now, a much better ending than what happens in the long walk because they shoot you. They have a whole bunch of they have military escorts going across with you, and they shoot you. It is a really, really good book. I can't wait to see the movie. I'm excited. Mark Hamill is playing the Major, and the Major is a psychopath. He is an absolute psychopath. So this is going to be really good. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm excited for this one. All right. Final choice this morning, Mr. Hunt. Can you hear me now or grab a breath?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me now? A Dodge Charger EV owner is asking a question as to how come I got a noise disturbance ticket here in Minnesota? The thing doesn't even have an exhaust. Yes, recently Mike got a public nuisance ticket for a super loud muffler in the state of Minnesota. He was driving through Stillwater, a city that has a strict noise ordinance. A group of car enthusiasts were with him. They stopped at an intersection. One of the cars went, and went around and had to prove exactly how large some of his manhood was. And so after that, the police flipped a Yui, came over, stopped him, and gave him a ticket for noise ordinance because of a loud muffler. It's an EV, doesn't have one. It's great. Good job, guys. It's a fine police duty there. Yeah, that's great, I'm sure.
That's funny.
Yeah, someone call Inspector Gadget. Alrighty, that's the end of You Choose the News. Back to you, Jeff.
We've got Christy Burton Brown coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. The Democrats want to tax you more. Surprise, surprise. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader. We are News Talk 710 KNUS.